Okay, I have my FreeWing F86 64mm EDF Jet, my beat up, torn up F86 Jet. Thought we'd put it in the air this morning. Wind on the ground right now is 426. Not optimal, but I'll take what I can get. Alright, let's come over here ways away from the truck since I got to launch it that way into the wind. Alright, launching. We're in the air. And we'll see how much elevator authority we have now, because I have my dual rate on my elevator now at 100%. Plenty of power, that's for sure. I can't get over how much power this has with this nice roll with this 3S Plus power system. It just amazes me. Look at that huge loop, man. Definitely has some speed to it now. Getting a little wing wag out of it with the wind. Alright, let's check our other direction. It looks like we're free and clear to navigate, because I'm about ready to get my haptic. Awesome roll rate. Let's take one more circuit. You know, this cost me last time. I ran completely out of power. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Not too bad. I was able to bring the nose up a bit that time. That's the first time in a while I've been able to bring the nose up. I did position my battery this time so it was even further back than where I had been flying it. And I was kind of apprehensive to do that because sometimes this thing has a tendency, if you get too slow with it, to really drop a wing, and the further back you put the CG, the more pronounced that's going to be. But that seemed to work out pretty well. Now I want to see, it wasn't easy in the throttle, so I want to see what kind of voltage I have on this little 4 cell. I can't wait until my other Lipos arrive. I have some 4S 1300 milliamp hour 70C Lipos. They're supposed to be here next week, and so I want to test this with one of those, as well as the Eachine 50mm EDF Jet, the F16. So let me see if I can get this. Let's see. 3.7, 3.7, 3.7, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, so I've got 3 of those 4S's, so let's see if we can put a couple more flights on it, get it a little closer in, Now that I know it's handling okay with the CG push further back. Quite fun. I have a lot of fun with this jet now with that 3S Plus power system. It's a little rocket ship now, isn't it? I'll see you in a minute. Okay, are we ready for flight number 2? And you may have noticed I still do not have my air inlet covers fabricated yet. I just have not had time with the other reviews and projects I've been doing. Oh, well, it is what it is, right? Alright, so let's see if we can get it in the air again. Takes right off. Awesome. Whoa, it dipped a wing there. Did you see that? It's just a little unpredictable in the air. I don't know why. Could it be because I've nosed it in so many times? Ooh, definitely hitting some wind. I don't know, maybe it hit a gust when it was coming out of that loop earlier, I don't know. But it sure did tilt the wing. Alright, I'm starting to get my haptic again. I've just got my timer set for 2.5 minutes with these small 4S Lipos, because I never know when traffic's going to come through and I may have to go a couple circuits. Okay, let's see if we can go one more circuit to check for traffic and bring it in. Alright, it looks like we're clear. Got a little crosswind I'm coming into. Ah! Man! I overcompensated there for the crosswind. But it is a tough little bird. Let's see if we did any damage. I was able to bring the nose up on it though again, so that's awesome. I think I'm going to keep the CG where I have it. Alright, let's see. Everything seems to be intact. Alright, I'm sure it's got a couple more scars on it now after hitting that scrub. But anyway, I have one more battery pack to put in it before it gets too darn windy. So, let's do that. I'll check the voltage on this one and then have it ready to go. See you in a minute. Okay, my last 4S battery pack that I can use in this jet. Let's get it in the air one more time. Wind was picking up. Now I can't tell if it's picking up or if it's dying down a little bit or if it's the same. But Anyway, last battery pack. Let's see if we can get it in the air, launching. That launches nicely with the wingtip now, all that power. Has some speed now, doesn't it? Careful I don't run out of elevator. That was nice and clean. I don't know, maybe it was the wind earlier, maybe there was a gust up there. Holy moly, that is fast. I think I said last time I was out I was going to tone down my ailerons, and I never did. Nice, crisp roll rate in both directions. Sweet. Okay, I'm getting my haptic, so I just had traffic come through, so let's check direction here. Alright, it looks like I'm free and clear to navigate. Okay, so let's see if I can bring it in this time and not overcompensate for the wind. Ah, man. I was afraid to slow it up enough to, you know, keep it over the lane there because I started getting some wing wag out of it. Maybe the next time I come out here it won't be so windy. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. This thing has tons of power with this 3S Plus power system. I have some second thoughts on this jet. So I want to meet you back at the hangar and give you some information, because you know, once I got everything figured out on this jet, and it took a while, you know, because number one, it was very underpowered, and number two, you know, you gotta really play around with it quite a bit to get the CG right where you need it, to get it to rotate, especially on the pitch axis. So I think I've got that now, without introducing, you know, any additional instability in flight. So I'll meet you back at the hangar, because you know, with a couple of simple modifications, this has turned out to be a pretty nice flying jet with tons of power. So I'll see you back at the hangar. Okay, so I'm still amazed when I take this out, the amount of power that it has when I'm only using 70% of the throttle on a 4S Lipo. So, and I like where I have the CG now. I do have enough authority to bring the nose up on landing.
and it didn't seem to introduce any, instability in the air while I was performing maneuvers. And, brain cramp, I've got 100% dual rate on my elevator, and I've got the control rod connected to the bottom hole on the control horn on the elevator. So what I am going to do before I take it out next time is I am going to move it up to the center hole. And I think that will not only give me the authority that I want on the elevator, but I think it'll give me enough in reserve that I'll be happy with it. And I'm going to tone down my ailerons a little bit because that roll rate is kind of insane. But I've kind of changed my mind on this jet. There's a couple modifications. Knowing what I know now, had I been able to have this information to begin with before I first put this jet in the air, I would have performed all the things that I did, the way it's flying now. So I would have my CG move back further. I think I'm at 2 or 3 millimeters further back than the furthest specified setting for the CG. So I'm out of the specified range, but that's where I like it, and I put a neutral balance on that, and I'll put the numbers in the setup file once I get another test flight on it with more elevator authority. I think that one gotcha moment that I had out there today was a big gust of wind up above. I didn't feel it on the ground, but I didn't see that again during the 3 flights that I performed on it. So it tried to roll the wing over on me coming out of the loop. But luckily I had enough altitude that I was able to save it okay. But cutting these air inlet holes and the assembly issue that I had, and I know there are several people that had this same issue. They drilled the holes for the wing spar at an angle on the wing instead of straight across. So what I did, and if you buy this plane you may run into the same issue. I took a drill bit that was the same diameter as the carbon spar, and I drilled it by hand, just by twisting it by hand. So I put it in the hole that was already there, and then drilled it straight back, and made sure that I kept it straight from wingtip to trailing edge, and also kept it level from bottom to top. And if I remember correctly, the wing spar is only 100 millimeters, so I wanted 50 millimeters to go on each side of the wing. So I marked back from the tip of the drill bit 50 millimeters, and I marked my drill bit so I would know when I got 50 millimeters into each side of the wing. And then I shot a bunch of glue into the wing in that hole to fill up that cavity that was going to be left where they incorrectly drilled the hole, and then put a bunch of glue on the wing spar and glued it into each side of the wing. That's not a big deal. It took me about 10 minutes to do that. So that's not a big deal. It should never have happened, but the fact that it did, it's easy to correct that. So that's not a problem. Even on a 3S, this EDF unit is starved for air, so I cut these air inlet holes. And I think that they're 18 millimeter by 40 millimeter, but I'll put that information in the show notes. That provides sufficient air to this even on 4S. Now I didn't have to change any of the electronics because I set it up for what I call 3S plus power system. So I'm using a 4S Lipo, but I've got my throttle range limited to 70% of the throttle, and you saw how much power this thing has, leaving 30% of the throttle range out of the picture. My guess is that if you replace the 30 amp speed controller with a 40 amp speed controller, you would probably have unlimited vertical on this jet on a 4S Lipo. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm pretty happy with the amount of power that it currently has. I mean, it pulls vertical with ease, and that 70% throttle range on 4S, makes it fairly efficient. I don't know exactly how much time I had it in the air on each one of the 3 flights. I had my timer set for 2.5 minutes. I let the timer run completely out before I put it back on the ground. So my guess is that I had it in the air probably somewhere between 2 minutes and 45 seconds, 2 minutes 50 seconds, somewhere around there. And pushing it as hard as I was, I still had 3.7 volts in the cell. if I did not have to worry about traffic coming through, where I would have to maybe run 3 or 4 additional circuits on minimal power, I would be setting my timer probably somewhere around 3 minutes 15 seconds, 3 minutes and 30, if I could get it on the ground immediately after my timer expired, to have a little over 3.5 volts per cell left in the pack once I landed. So, and I've got some 4S 1300 milliamp hour 70C lipos on the way that are supposed to be delivered next week, and I will be testing those in this lipo. And when I get those lipos in, I will be setting my timer for a full 3 minutes, which means I'll probably have it in the air for 3 minutes 15 seconds, 3 minutes 20 seconds, and then I'll test the voltage in those lipos after I land, pushing it the same as I did in these flight sessions, and then I might be able to set my timer for a full 3.5 minutes with those lipos, as opposed to these little 1050s. Who knows, maybe even more. So yeah, so I it's a very inexpensive plane. Last time I checked, I think it was $119, $119.99, $120. So if you're willing to make those modifications right off the bat, with this jet, and put a 4S LiPo in it, whether you want to use the 30 amp speed controller that's already in it, or switch that out for a 40 amp speed controller. But if you set it up with a 3S Plus power system like I have, where I limited the throttle range to where I wouldn't be pulling more amps than what the 30 amp speed controller could handle, you can see how much power it has. And it's really fun, putting this in the air and flying it around with that much power. And like I said, on 4S, I'll bet you it'd have unlimited vertical. I don't know how many 64 millimeter EDF jets are out there that have unlimited vertical on a 4S LiPo, but I'll bet it's not many. So, and you wouldn't have the frustration that I had trying to figure all this out. You would have all the information ahead of time. So if you're willing to correct the mistake that they made on the wing spar, cut the additional air inlet holes, put a 4S LiPo in it and limit your throttle, top end throttle at 70%, and set your CG where I have mine set, you'll have yours flying right off the bat the way I have mine flying, and you see how easy it is to launch now without any drama. So that's my second thoughts on this plane. Having the information that I have now, I would go back and buy this plane again. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.